Hey guys, let's start lesson 10.3. 10.3 is continuing on with measurements, customary units still. So customary, remember, is the type of measurement we use in the United States. This time, lesson 3 is going to be about weight. So how much things weigh. Okay. The three units in the customary system are the ounce. 1 ounce is about how much a strawberry weighs. 16 ounces then makes it a pound. So 1 pound equals 16 ounces. That's about a pineapple. Okay. And then the next unit in the customary system for weight is the ton. Okay, so 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. And big items can be that heavy. So in this case, a truck. Large animals like elephants and whales can be described by tons. Shipments of heavy material like rocks, we can call that tons also. But it takes 2,000 pounds to make it a ton. All right. And then here we have our chart that we're going to have use for. It definitely helps us with our equivalent fraction strategy. Okay, let's go try some examples. All right, so the first one I have here is 15 pounds equals blank ounces. And we're going to continue on with the equivalent fraction strategy. I feel like, that's, the easiest way compared to the models being very time consuming, and the other one is, multiply or divide depending on if you're going from bigger to smaller units or smaller to bigger units. That works too. That's actually not bad at all. But, the equivalent fractions is good too. All right, so first, to do the equivalent fractions, we need to set up a fraction for using the fact from the table. So here's my first one right here. Since I'm going from pounds to ounces, I'm going to use this 1 pound 16 ounce fact. Okay, and so there's my first fraction for my equivalent fraction strategy, 1 pound 16 ounces. All right, and so there's my first fraction, and then I'm going to set it equal to this problem. So I want 15 pounds blank ounces for the other fraction. So I have 15 pounds blank ounces right here. Okay, and remember, pounds and pounds needs to be across from each other, so pounds, and then ounces and ounces needs to also be across from each other, otherwise it doesn't work. Okay, you got to make sure they line up. All right, and then we have to figure out what did they do to change the numerator, and whatever they did to change the numerator, we're going to use it to change the denominator also. So how do you get from 1 to 15, guys? How do you get from 1 to 15? Let's see. Well, that's pretty easy. That would be times 15, right? So that means we need to do times 15 down here, and then once we do 16, that's our 16 ounces per pound, 16 times 15 will get our answer. All right, let me set that up for some side work because I definitely can't solve that one in my head. So I'm going to have 16 and 15 over here on the side. Ooh, and then I'm going to multiply them. Yeah. All right, 5 times 6 is 30. 0, carry the 3. Really tiny 3. And then 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. Ooh, and then Bob, or placeholder 0, I call him Bob. All right, and then we do our ones. 1 times 6 is 6. And 1 times 1 is 1. We don't add the 3 because that was from earlier, right? So 1 times 1 is 1. And then we add this up, and we should have our answer for the amount of ounces in 15 pounds. So 0 plus 0 is 0. 8 plus 6 is 14. I'm going to put the 4 and carry the 1 into the hundreds place over here. And then 1 plus 1 is 2. So my answer for 15 pounds equals blank ounces is 240. 240 ounces for 15 pounds. All right, and there's one done. Okay, let's look at another one. This one is going from tons to pounds. So tons to pounds means, I'll use a different color for number 3. Tons to pounds means that we're going to use a different fact, right? We're going to use this one, tons to pounds, right? So when we set up our equivalent fractions, then we need to start off with the fraction that is from the chart, the fraction that is the fact, okay? And that means 1 ton over 2,000 pounds. And I just got that from right here. 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds. Yes? And then we set it equal to this problem, 2 tons and blank pounds, and you want it to look like this, right? So the tons are across from each other, and I got 3 from the problem. And then the pounds are across from each other, and then this one is blank from the problem. Okay, and now I want to do the same thing. What did they do to get from 1 to 3? What did they do? From 1 to 3, that means they multiplied by 3. And so that means we're going to multiply by 3 on the bottom as well. Whoops. Let me get my pen back. Okay, so we're going to multiply by 3 on the bottom as well. And this one I can do mental math. 2,000 times 3. What is it, guys? Why do I keep doing that? Okay, 2,000. Get my pen back again. All right, 2,000 times 3. My times looks amazing. I know. Okay. 2,000 times 3 is 6,000. You probably told me this like 5 times already, huh? All right, 6, 0, 0, kind of 0, 0, 6,000. And that's our answer. All right, so there's 2 where, you just set up the equivalent fractions and find what they are doing to get from one to the other. Let's look at a few more. These ones are a little more difficult on this slide. I found one that has really big numbers that we probably won't be able to do mental math with, but we can do some side work, and I'm going to model that for you, okay? And then we have the one where there's comparing. So remember, comparing is different. You only want to change one of them, not both. You want to change one of them to be the same as the other when it comes to units, not the same number, because then that would just be equal, but you want it to make it the same units. All right, let's do this one first. So this one is doing ounces to pounds. Ounces are smaller and pounds are bigger, right? So this means we're going from a smaller unit, ounces, remember it's a strawberry, and then a pound is the pineapple, right? We're going from a smaller unit to a bigger unit, okay? So that means that when we do this, we're gonna have to use some division probably, all right? So ounces to pounds, I'm gonna use purple. I'm gonna use this fact right here, pounds and ounces, because that's what I'm using, right? Ounces and pounds and ounces. And I'm going to use that to set up my first fraction. So 1 pound, 16 ounces. I got it from the table. And I'm going to set it equal to the problem, all right? And I want pounds to be on top, and I want ounces to be on the bottom. So it's going to kind of look a little different. This time, the missing number is going to be on the top, right? So we have a missing number up here. Okay, and then this is what I mean. To solve this, I need to find what they're doing down here on the bottom. There's no missing number down here, right? But I can't do that one in my head at all, can you? How did they get from 16 to 352? I don't know my 16 facts, and yeah, I really don't know what they multiplied it by. I know they multiplied by something. It's always multiplying with equivalent fractions, right? Multiplying or dividing, okay? I don't know what they multiplied by. So to figure out what they multiplied by, I need to use an inverse operation. I need to use the opposite of multiplying. And what is that? It's dividing, right? So I need to divide the 352. Ooh, that went way up there. That's the number that they ended up with, right? I'm going to divide it by 16, and then whatever this answer is on top when I'm done, that's going to be what they multiplied by, right? It's a fact family. Okay, so we can use inverse operation to find out what this multiplication rule is. So 16 goes into 3, no way, that's way too small. 16 into 35, yes, I think it's 2 times because I actually know 2 times 16 in my head. 2 times 16 is 32. And then I subtract to see what's left over, and then I need to bring down the ones place, right? So 35 minus 32 is 3. oh, this is nice. And I bring down the 2 and I get 32. And I just did something with 32, right? I just said a second ago that 16 goes into 32 2 times. And it goes in there exactly 2 times. So that means when I minus 32, I'm going to have 0 left over and I don't have anything else left to bring down. So this is what they multiplied by. So they multiplied by 22 to get this big old number. All right, now that's not my answer for the problem. I need to find the pounds. I still didn't do anything up here yet. All I did was I used an inverse operation to find out what that rule was. So now that I know they multiplied by 22, that's what I'm going to do up here. I'm going to times by 22. Okay, and then 1 times 22, easy peasy in our head, right? 1 times 22 is 22, and so my answer is 22. There we go. All right, there's that one. One more to go for lesson 3. Oh, how did I switch from green to purple? I don't know what I did there. Oh, well. Okay, so this fact was for this problem. This one, oh, we're going to use the same fact. We have ounces and we have pounds. Cool. So we're going to use the same fact, ounces and pounds. So that must mean that my first fraction, yep, is 1 pound, 16 ounces. And then I'm going to set it equal to another fraction, but the fraction's not in here right now. This is where I have to pick. Am I going to change the ounces into pounds and then compare pounds and pounds? Or am I going to change the pounds into ounces and then compare ounces and ounces? So I think I've said this in the previous lessons, but I like to take the bigger unit, right? The bigger unit in this case is pounds. Pounds are heavier than ounces, right? So when you go from a bigger unit to a smaller unit, it usually involves multiplication. We saw right over here that when we went from a smaller unit to a bigger unit, it involved division, right? And I don't really want to divide. I like to multiply better. So I'm going to go ahead and change the 8 pounds. So I'm setting it up as 8 pounds, all right, and blank ounces. This is not being used. I'm not using the 130 at all because I'm only changing this side of the compare problem, okay? And then whenever when I'm changing this side into ounces, so then I'll have ounces, and I can easily see which one's bigger after that, all right? So 8 pounds is what I'm changing, and it's blank ounces because I don't know. And now I can easily use my mental, what do you call it, my multiplication facts, right? So how do you get from 1 to 8? Well, that's easy peasy. You times by 8. So that means we're going to times by 8 on the bottom as well. And that means we're going to do 16 times 8. Can you do that one in your head? 16 times 8. I actually can, but I don't want to overwhelm anybody. So let's just make sure on the side that I'm doing it right. So 18 times 6. I'm sorry, I totally said that wrong. 16 times 8. 8 times 6 is 48. So 8, carry the 4. Bloop. And then 8 times 1 is 8 plus 4, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're going to put 12. And then that's our answer for 8 pounds. So 8 pounds, this side, remember, is 128. 128 ounces. Silly toolbar. Nope, doesn't want me. All right. Can I do it? Yeah, okay. Ounces. All right, and now I have 128 ounces on this side, 130 ounces on this side, and now I know which way to face my inequivalency sign, and that would be towards the bigger number, right? So I'm going to have the greater than sign, the greater than sign. So this means 130 ounces is greater than 128 ounces, and I'm done. All right, guys, that's lesson 3. It's not as many facts to work with this time. You just have pounds and ounces or tons and pounds. And I wish you the best of luck on your practice forms. Have a good day.